2025. Oh, it's May. I want it to be June. June is summertime. May 8th, 2025. So please, let's stand for a moment of silence and silent invocation. And the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Carlson. Pertek. Clendenin.
Here.
Maniscalco. Vera. Miranda. Henderson.
Present.
We have a physical quorum.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adopt the minutes from last month?
Second.
Miranda, Maniscalco, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, so now, Mr. McCray, our director, let's clean up the agenda and set it for today, please.
Good morning, Cedric McCray, Tampa CRA Director. Glad to be with you all this morning. We will are requesting a couple of items to be continued as we seek additional information. So that would be
Quiet when entering the chambers, please.
That would be item 3.
Can I have a motion for item 3, please?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
And item 4.
So moved. Second.
Okay. June 12th.
Correct.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, yeah, that's it? Okay, so anyone want to pull an agenda
Yes.
item for discussion?
Yes, I'd like to pull 6 and 7.
6 and 7 would like to be pulled from our approvals. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That was seconded by Maniscalco. Now, can I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Did you get that? Soto, you listen really well. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Now we'll go on to public comment. We have Mr. Randolph and Ms. Rodriguez online. We'll start with them first.
Good morning. My name is Michael Randolph, and I'm with the West Tampa CDC. Today, I want to talk about the state of West Tampa. The piece I'm going to be talking about is titled Economic and Health Challenges Faced by African Americans in zip code 33607. These areas that I'm talking about specifically focus on Southwest and Eastern West Tampa. As an introduction, African Americans in zip code 33607 experience economic inability and health disparities that affect financial security, employment, and overall well-being of African Americans. Addressing these issues requires targeted initiative and community-driven solutions. Let's start with what the challenges are. The first is economic challenge. In West Tampa, has a high amount of a high poverty, 34.6%, which exceeds the national average. Unemployment is 15.5%, nearly 3 times the national average. Our solution is the creation of the Job Creation Center. The second challenge is unemployment barriers. And what does this consist of? Limited job training, transportation issues, and issues with discrimination. Our solution to this problem is our Technology and Wealth Building Center. The industry representation. Currently, most African Americans in zip code 33607 is in the health, retail, transportation, and service industry. We know that within the next 5 years, these jobs will be wiped out. Our solution is our artificial intelligence and ChatGPT technology development. The other thing that's important in West Tampa is the issue dealing with health. And yes, health and economic development do go together. In West Tampa, hypertension, diabetes, and obesity is widespread in West Tampa. largely due to limited healthcare access due to financial barriers and systematic inequality. Our solution is our community-based health initiative, which shows that the best initiative comes from within. And finally, crime. When it comes to crime, the overall crime rate is 33.6% per thousand. Violent crime is 4,200 per thousand. Our solution to this problem, again, is our wealth building center and our virtual production center. The crime is most
Thank you, Mr.
notable
Randolph.
in
Your
South
time is up. Mr. Randolph, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Rodriguez. Okay, we'll go on to public comment in the chambers. Anyone ready to come up before public comment?
Good morning, board members.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Henderson. I am Fran Tate. I am a member of the East Tampa CRA CAC committee. I'm also the Jackson Heights Neighborhood Association president. And I'm here today to discuss agenda item number 6. I sent an email on yesterday to all of you. I hope you all received it because I have some questions and concerns about it. I sent specific documentation, and the reason that I requested it be pulled or whatever your process here is. I'm still learning the process. To me, it's just another example of a concern that I shared back in January. At that time, I spoke about disheartening and counterproductive, how it was for me as a board member when staff members treat CAC members with dismissiveness and a lack of effective communication. Now, this particular property, we still have not received all the necessary items that we wanted to receive back. We wanted to find out if this was a brownfield, toxic substances on the property. We want to discuss the cost, the value of it. We haven't received any of this, but now it's before all of you all for discussion. So we wanted it to come back so we could finish our discussions. We took a vote and it was voted down. So I'm not understanding the process of how we don't get to conclude our discussion and our vote before it's before you all. I'm just trying to understand. So then, I'm also suggesting that East Tampa CRA CAC board be given a manager. We need a manager. We need someone with strong leadership skills, someone with the ability to inspire and guide the board and community toward its goals, fostering a sense of purpose and encouraging participation, someone with a high level of integrity and conflict resolution skills, someone with communication skills for interacting effectively with residents, board members, and business partners, someone with the ability to be adaptable, empathetic, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to rush, and able to build relationships with diverse stakeholders, including residents, board members, and business partners. This person should also be well-versed in the community governance and legal compliance.
Thank you, Ms.
Am
Tate.
I up? Thank you so much.
Good morning, sir. Next speaker. Did Ms. Rodriguez come up?
Good morning, City Council. My name is Matthew Raddick. There's nothing on the agenda for what I'm speaking of. I just want to shine a light on a problem we have with a developer in Seminole Heights who is trying to sidestep every rule, code, and regulation there is, trying to avoid the scrutiny from City Council to take away your powers to review things that affect a lot of residents in and around Epps Park and Seminole Heights. Let me see if I can give you a number for one of these things. One of the latest permits, TRE 2500000731 and 732. have both been mysteriously approved, but regardless of that, there's a stipulation on the approval for removing these trees that he has to plant mitigation trees. The applicant is now attempting to plant those trees dangerously close to Fern Street, which, as you know, if you've been there, is a very narrow street. 2 cars can barely pass through, especially on the curve right there where his property is. It's going to create a dangerous situation for motorists and pedestrians. And your code, I'll send you guys an email as soon as this is over, and it'll highlight some of these things on why it's illegal. The city says, City of Tampa Sewer Authority states, do not plant or build anything within its boundaries. That means the row. The city also states medium trees up to 40 feet at maturity should be planted at least 15 feet from walls and at least 12 feet from the corner of your home or permanent infrastructure. That increases to 20 and 15 feet for trees greater than 40 feet. It's also important to note that by placing these trees in the city right-of-way, the applicant is not really paying any mitigation at all for removing the other trees. He just wants those other trees removed so he can split his other lot into 3 and put 3 driveways over there. That's going to be his next step. And if he places those trees in the row, if the city allows that to happen, the city will be responsible for those trees. He will never have to worry about maintenance or liability from anything that happens to those trees. And I do believe that if someone purposely plants something or places anything right there in the right-of-way and an accident happens, the person who put that object there is going to be held liable for it. And that's all going to fall upon the city and the taxpayers. This whole thing needs to be addressed and looked at as a planned development. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Matthew. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Allison Hewitt, East Tampa resident and business owner. I come here with a heavy heart to be able to say that this CRA is on track to significantly gentrify East Tampa. The policies that are being discussed to be put in place will significantly not help the businesses and growth. And also it will be increasing the tax base and the property to be able to have the people who live there not to be able to continue to live there. I am also disappointed about the passive governance for this CRA. Examples in 2021, 2022, 2023, 24, and 25. The CRA chairmen, CAC chairmen came and asked this board to please make sure that the CAC gets information at least a week in advance to be able to read it, to be able to go back to their communities and be able to come and provide you with recommendations. But here we are still, 5 years later, we do not get that information in advance. We get it in maybe 3 days. We get it on Friday afternoons. And these are volunteers who are trying their best to make sure that they do what you intended when you changed the scope and not had it elected, but have them represent their neighborhood associations and other organizations. But now they don't have the time to be able to take the information back. I also asked for the SAP, page 17, is the start of all the accomplishments for the East Tampa CRA. I'd like you to be able to go through and really look at that to understand that these are mostly white companies, that companies who are coming here and to be able to invest. And a lot of that is because of facade improvement back in the day, you had to have money before you can get money. So unless the businesses have money, they can't access the grants. I've been in receipt of email from staff that says, unless you have 100% of your financing available, don't even apply for the grants. Why would you even go through the headache of applying to the city for a grant if you have to have 100% of your financing? And who, in a place where it's a CRA, where we're trying to remove slum and blight, when we're trying to help these businesses, which one of these businesses you think can 100% fund their project to come for application? But what you're doing is, the people who have money can come in and then put their money in and then apply for it again and get their money back. So you are putting in policies that are going to completely disrupt the people who have invested in these communities. I ask you to pay attention to the East Tampa CRA. We need your attention. We need to be able to get our information ahead of time so our community can discuss it and come back to you with not feelings and emotions, but actually looking at the facts. But if we don't have the information ahead of time, if we don't have the ability to explain to folks that economic development is not what they do, then we will lose. And we will lose East Tampa and it will become a bedroom community.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Stephanie Pointer. First of all, the downtown CRA needs to pay for every stinking penny of the Ashley Street project. It should not be coming out of the general fund. If you have to dip into the affordable housing pocket of that money, then do it. Because eventually that land will be worth more and it's gonna actually generate more money. So let's not rob Peter to pay Paul. Let's let Paul pay for his own stuff. Stormwater. Well, I went to the county stormwater meeting last night, and do we have this? Can you see it? Can you see it? No. Okay. Don't count this on my time now. Okay, and this is. I'll do it for you. No, it's okay. No, but when I went to the stormwater meeting for the county last night, can you guys see it now? Okay. They have all these little colorful areas around the county, but there was nothing in the city. And I lit them jokers up, and you know what they told me? We don't have this data from the city. Why not? That's what I asked them. Why not? Well, the city hasn't given it to us. Who'd you ask for it? Did you ask Ali Sabewad for it? No, we asked you on. And I'm like, okay, so y'all figure out why the city has not produced the data on the flooding to Black and Beach, I believe they're called. Nice guys. Maybe they're like, well, they don't have the equipment to do that. Well, maybe if we didn't spend $13 million of our stormwater money on people instead of the things we need to do our job. They said, we don't have the data for where the flooding is. I said, I have it. And I believe I sent it to you guys last night. If I didn't, please remind me and I'll send it when I go sit down. The GIS maps show where we flooded. But yet, these people who are doing the study for the whole county, I'm like, we pay as much in taxes as they do. Why hasn't the city supplied this? We need to get ideas to Black and Veatch on how to impact stormwater. And one of the things that I told them last night, and I'm going to reiterate, is that we need to have microloans for French drains, for other alternative ideas. In the CAAP study, the Coastal Area Action Plan, that hasn't gotten here yet for some reason, the Coastal Area Action Plan has things that individual homeowners can do to help with the stormwater issue. Let's see. Personally, I think if they quit spending 28 days a year setting up and breaking down for parades, and they quit setting up and breaking down for Gasparilla. I also want to point out to you that those maps that Ms. Feely gave me, I posted them on Facebook, and I asked anybody, has anybody seen stormwater in these areas that were flooded? And the answer was overwhelmingly no. I probably had 50 responses to that post. Nobody has seen anybody doing anything about stormwater, cleaning out ditches, or anything of that nature in South Tampa. I'm going to reiterate. Nobody has seen anybody in stormwater doing anything in South Tampa, in particular, those areas that were flooded. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Keela McCaskill. I want to know from this body, you don't have to, I know you can't answer, but does what you do as a public servant, well, you're supposed to be a public servant, hopefully that's at top of mind when people come down here and spend their time, pay for parking, come to advocate on behalf of their neighborhoods, because I can't tell that you actually care about what your legacy is going to be. From this side, from the community aspect, from the lens I'm looking from, it looks like what your legacy is going to be in a minute, if you're not paying attention to what's happening, is you happily, easily allowed East Tampa to be gentrified. This CRP that we're looking at is downright disrespectful. That group told me outright, we're only doing 2 community meetings because we already know what needs to be in this CRP. Nothing from the 2004 CRP that was written at the same time as Channel Sides is added to that. And they are saying somebody in the city is not allowing them to do so. I want to know who. You should want to know too. Because what's happening is where it includes public-private partnerships, working with the existing landowners in East Tampa that owns key pieces of dirt, that's gone. And they're not putting it in the new CRP. Wonder why that is. Because they have developers and they have some GCs that they would like to feed those projects to. Possibly code enforcement written those people to death so that they have to be forced to sell. It's not happening. Hopefully you won't allow that to happen on your watch. I'm saddened by the information that the other representatives shared in the community concerning their applications. When the applications were written by a qualified, more than qualified team from former Deputy Chief Mayor Drumgo and also Nicole Travis, they rewrote those programs so that it would benefit the individuals that live in this area today. But now an inexperienced team comes and they want to adjust it to where you have to have 100% of those funds. If you had 100% of the funds, they wouldn't need you. What would they need you for if they already had 100% of the funds? I need you to wake up today. Like, this is unacceptable. It's disrespectful. When you take from people, when you take from the people that have to vote for you, they can and will take your jobs. Please wake up today. Thank you.
Uhuru Mentiznot, Tampa, Florida. When I say Uhuru means freedom in Swahili, and we as African people should always be thinking about our freedom. I'm not here to talk about CRA. I'm not here to talk to beg no white folks for nothing. I first want to send a shout out to the family of Tyrese Nichols, who is Rodney King and other people. We see the police beat this man to death, and they found not guilty. That's why there's no African people down here and here, because we scared. You understand? We scared. We seen what they did to Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, other people. Fannie Lou Hamer beat the woman bad, out of her mind, out of her consciousness, while she's locked up, have other Africans beating her. Nasty, nasty. I'm not here to talk about CRA, I'm here to talk about child support. But I am gonna say about CRA was nothing in this city until Sister Connie Burden got involved in the East Tampa CRA. And they did all kind of nasty, underhanded things to remove her from that position. Used all kind of people, Orlando Gould, Michelle Patty, other people. I'm name calling, yeah. All kind of nastiness. And it ain't even about doing that, because those people don't understand. It's about they not gonna see black people advance any way, anytime, any place. If it's Rosewood, if it's Osea, if it's Greenwood, if it's Tulsa, if it's the 1919 Red Summer, they not gonna see African people advance. They're gonna burn you out if you're driving a car with rims that you fixed in your backyard, a bicycle with music on it. They hate to see the black advance. They hate to see us have an equal chance. And that's what child support does. Destroy African men and destroy African families. It's a eugenics program going on right in the black community. And they got black women snitching as crazy. Child support enforcement, administrative agency, no separation of powers. Hearing officers can make you sell your home. You know how much property they try to make me sell in child support? Or you hiding property, you doing this, you got stuff in other people's names. That's not illegal. We know what white folks do to you. We know what white folks do to you. If it's code enforcement, if it's the police department, if it's the next one or the next one, if it's a Ken or Karen. This city council needs to do something about child support. That's why it's no black men down here. That's why black people are scared to come out in public. Even in our own neighborhoods, we're scared to come out in public. An authoritative state that have too much power over African people.
Good morning, Connie Burton. They say when you know better, you do better. One thing I want to do this morning is issue a public apology to Ed Johnson. anybody that know when I was coming down here in 2018, 2019 and on, I say remove Ed Johnson because he wasn't doing anything for East Tampa CRA. And when you know better, you know it wasn't in his hand to do what the community need because we still hear the same cry now in 2025. So it has to be a administration issues that has made a determination that East Tampa continue to land where it land. Damn all the picture taking that you do, all the turning of the dirt that you do, all the things that you're gonna put in your future political platforms as you run continuously for office, our community is being gentrified. We saw the gentrification even with the former mayor talking about, investing in Riverfront Park, now to not even know where the basketball courts in Riverfront Park. The removal of swimming pools, something that was endeared to the Black community. Even over there at Memorial Park on Central Avenue, the swimming pool gets shut down. Why? Because the children in Robles Park was enjoying it. You continue to do it. And what we get from Black leadership, from Kevin White to Gwen Miller to Orlando Goulds, Pear Harvey at least had enough sense to say, give me 26% to take back to the community. All we get now from Black leadership is their names on a building when the community is still suffering. We need more. To have informed ordinary citizens come before this body and say, do this in behalf of the community so you can stop the ongoing genocide that is continuing in our community. The high unemployment rate that we see in our community. The fact that we got to beg for 72 Black youth out of East Tampa to have jobs. And to then see how city staff that's getting six-figure salaries saying they can't even implement that. But you want us to continue to feel that this is the city on the hill, the beloved city of Tampa that's doing much? No, it's not. It continues to say that Black people in our community is watching white developers come into the community, gentrify the community with your blessings, because now you have formulated grants, you have documented policies that say that only they can be the future of our community. We reject all of it, and we expect more from our representative.
Next speaker, please. If you want to speak, please stand up now and come to the side so that we can know who's going to be last. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jeffrey Johnson, East Tampa CAC Chair. Last month, I gave a detailed update of what was happening in East Tampa. Roughly about 60 minutes, 70 minutes in our meeting last week, after I left the chamber, my name was mentioned in being against something that came from out of East Tampa. I want to make sure that the record is stated. You can go back and look at the video. My name was called specifically about not being in favor for a project. I've been a strong proponent for land assemblage in East Tampa to make sure that we control the dirt, that we can control the population of what happens with the land that we do assemble to be able to support affordable housing. The East Palafox project was voted on in July of 2023. It was stated that I was not in favor for the project, but I wasn't even at that meeting. So I do ask that due diligence is spoken about before something is said about who is in favor, not in favor of certain items. And I would like for there to be a retraction on my behalf, because I've been a strong proponent for East Tampa, speaking up for what we need. And I don't want something to be publicly stated throughout this city of something that I'm not in favor of, especially if I wasn't even there to support it. So I wanted that to be on record, and I do ask for a retraction to clear my name.
It's our last and final speaker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Eileen Henderson. I'm here to talk about East Tampa, and you've heard a lot today from East Tampa, and I'm so glad to see that. We talk about in our East Tampa CAC meetings for the public to come out and to speak, and I'm number 6 today that's talking about East Tampa. So I'm hoping that you hear that and you see that. You know, one of the responsibilities here that I took on with the CAC, and I take it very seriously what I do, is representing the community. 28 years of experience with government, this is a new world for me, so I'm kind of bumping into walls and learning along the way. But as I learn, one of the things I'm doing is listening. And I'm listening to the community, and I'm listening to that passion. And I'm going to do what I can do to make sure that East Tampa takes the track it needs to take. It's on the precipice of change. It is. We're not going to be able to walk away from that. This is going to happen. The challenges I see are when we have folks asking for $5 million for projects that, in my opinion, don't sit in the East Tampa boundary. We can debate that all day long. And I've been told, Eileen, that's the way it is, get over it. I'm not going to get over it. I'm going to continue to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, then you can't have change. And the truth of the matter is, these two particular projects actually sit in Ybor City. They're in the historic district. It's not East Tampa. So how do I move forward from that? Because I keep hearing you can't have change. My mama taught me a long time ago, they can change it if they want to change it. You got to make them want to change it. It's just how I feel about it. I want us to look at that money. There needs to be a cap. $5 million is a huge ask. This is a huge CRA. People are going to start coming with their hand out. I'd like to see a $500,000 cap for anything that's residential. And I'd like to see $1 million cap for commercial. Because you know what? These are developers. These are for profit. They're going to make their money. And I don't want to hear people coming to East Tampa talking about, oh, well, it's a lot of money for us to do this project. That's why we're asking. Then get out of the business. This is what you signed up for. Because in the end, the long game is you're going to make that money back. Take point of the survey that was done. The community specifically, and this was the woman that presented it, they want to keep it hyper-local. Preservation is key. The information is here in these studies. This is what East Tampa wants. Please, we also need an architectural study, because we need to make sure with these changes, we're taking care of these neighborhoods. We're making sure that that change is not aggressive, and it's in line with the neighborhood. Thank you so much.
Mr. Williams, I was told Darlene wants to speak. Okay. Our last speaker, Mr. Williams.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And may God bless all of us. We thank God for this opportunity to come here and speak with you all, and hoping and praying that we get things done right in favor of all of us. The young lady that just got through speaking, she's speaking on behalf of herself and other people that being mistreated. You know, I thank God for this day, that I'm still alive. So much is happening in my life, but God is still good, and He's treating us royal too. And we got to thank Him too. I'll be 87 years old in a few more months, and that's a blessing. I want to give God the glory for it. Thank you, Holy Father. But really, I don't want to mistreat nobody. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sing some of my songs, what I used to, not some of them, and sing one of them that God has blessed me with when I had my church before they took it away from me. But God is still good. Nobody can outdo God. You know, this thing here is not just by white folks, it's by black and white. But we going to rise up. And we already done rise up in the name of Jesus. And that's what it's all about. Giving God the praise for Jesus. Calvary, 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 Calvary. Surely my Lord died on Calvary. Yes, He died died for me and you. Yes, he died for me and you. Surely my Lord died on Calvary. Can you hear the angels singing? Can you hear the angels singing? Surely my Lord died on Calvary. I'm going home to live with Jesus. I'm going home to live with Jesus. Surely my Lord died on Calvary. Yes, he died for you and me. Boy, y'all telling me it's time to sit down.
Thank you, Pastor Williams. Ms. Thrower, good morning. Item number 1.
Good morning, Brenda Thrower, the Ybor City CRA manager. You want me to sing it?
No. Yes. No.
Well, I'm here to introduce the Ybor CRA CAC chair, Rich Simmons, who's going to give you all a report on what's happening in Ybor City. Rich, you can sing.
You don't want me to sing. It's not going to happen today. Good morning, CRA board members. As Brenda said, I'm Rich Simmons, chair of the Ybor City CAC. It's been a year since I've been here, so I want to give you a quick update on everything that's happening, well, almost everything that's happening down in Ybor. Spring parade season's over, so we're getting into the heat of the summer. As you drive through Ybor, you can see a lot of development going on, especially on the west side, gasworks project, so lots of things happening there on the west side and also on the south side. We also have a few new board members on our CAC. Jack Smith is here today. Roberto Torres, Manny Calzone, Carmen Ibarone, and Rich McIntyre all joined our board in the past year. And we also hosted in Ybor City a CAC training session a few months ago. So that's all moving ahead very well. The CAC is actively seeking new members. About 8 of our board members are going to term out this fiscal year. I think Brenda's been very active in recruiting new members, and I just obviously goes in front of you for board approval, so that should be coming your way as well. I want to talk about some of the capital projects that happened over the last year. Bricking of 7th Avenue. We did the first 2-block area in phase 1 from 15th to 17th Street. It was completed last summer, ahead of schedule and on budget. Phase 2, we're looking to go from 17th to 19th Street. There's some intersection design, ADA issues that need to be addressed, so that's going out to a consultant to be able to survey and lay out the design so that we can move forward with the next phases of the project. And our overall goal is to complete all 14 blocks of 7th Avenue over the next several years. We've been actively budgeting for the brick paver, bricking 7th Avenue in our CRA budgets. We're also working on a district signage package. Phase 1 is 63 new street name signs, which will be installed, and we're working with mobility on a district assessment plan to see where the remaining signs need to be placed within the district. We're getting ready to update the CRA community redevelopment plans, the CRP plans. We're going to be procuring a consultant for both Ybor City 1 and District 2 over the summer. These get updated on a periodic basis, and we're due for an update of those. So we'll be hiring a consultant, which will come back in front of the board here. As you know, the CRPs dictate where the priorities are and where the budget money is spent, so it's really critical to redefine this and keep this up to date so that we can meet the needs of the CRA district. We're also working on planning for Centennial Park improvements. We put that out for a CRP before. The budget was way over what we anticipated, so I think we're trying to update the design for a new RFP to work with Parks and Rec and Contract Administration. Last year, we completed a drainage and flood mitigation study for the south central section of Ybor, south of the parking garage area.
They surveyed everything that and completed the survey last April. It's a huge problem on some of these larger storms. That area floods out, the area where El Puerto is and south all the way down to that Ybor Bay really floods really bad. So I think there's some concerns there with that to rework a solution. It extends beyond our CRA boundary, so we have to get city involved with that. So that's a long-term project, but that's one that's very important for that area. Business assistance and affordable housing, commercial grants. New programs were established within the CRA to attract applicants from business owners. I understand that process is going well, but also very slow and tedious. Some feedback that I've gotten from people is that it's, working with the city takes, a couple steps forward, a couple steps back to get anything done. So I think it's a new process for everyone. I think city staff is trying to be very flexible, but I want to let you know that a lot of the applicants are getting frustrated with the process. It doesn't seem to be a clear path forward for a lot of them. When we talk about affordable housing, funding has been set aside for that, as you know, 30% of the budget. No applications yet for housing assistance. But we're continuing to explore opportunities to acquire properties and create new affordable housing units within the district from the private sector. I talked about the grants process, the slow and redundant process. Am I limited to 3 minutes? I don't. Okay. Is that 5 minutes?
No, you have
Okay.
another minute.
Quality of life and community policing. The Ybor City Yes team is been doing an outstanding job. They're fully integrated with Tampa Police Department and also code enforcement. That's been a relatively new program that they've all three groups, code enforcement, TPD, and the Yes team have worked together to police and investigate code enforcement policies, especially with parking lots. As you know, with all the codes change with the parking lot requirements within Ybor City. So it seems to be working out pretty well. There's been a number of cases that went to the magistrate for review and approval, some fines levied, some improvements going. So I think that's a new process that we're all kind of learning how that all works. That also involves the Barrio Latino too. The S team is completing, block by block is completing their third year. We're very pleased with their performance so far. Mark Rendini has been the new manager. Jason got promoted to a district area-wide, larger position. Mark's been on the team for several years. He knows the territory and is doing a fine job so far. They provide detailed meetings, summaries, monthly summaries of their activity, wellness checks, guiding people, everything. So that's all in our packet that are probably available to you. Captain College with TPD reports monthly to the CAC on updates within crime stats and trends. Introduces new Ybor City liaison on community policing officers on a regular basis. And again, the relationship with TPD is very strong within the district. I talked a little bit about code enforcement. They attend our CAC meetings too. Really, their big push right now is on the parking lots. This summer, we're going to be updating the Ybor City Resident and Worker Survey. That's done every 2 years. This will be the 5th iteration. HCP usually interviews people to get their intakes on what residents need in the district, what workers need, and I think this also plays into how we update our CRP. They address 5 areas: community activation, retail development, parking and transportation, safety and security. The one thing that we talked about after the last survey was also interviewing members of the public or visitors. We get residents and workers, but I think the public, I think there's some good information there of what their impressions are of Ybor City. We're known, obviously, as a district that attracts a lot of visitors, so bringing those people in and getting their impressions of the district, I think is going to help the overall district. So we're looking to expand that a little bit.
1 minute, Mr. Simmons.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you have on your agenda list?
Let me just touch on a couple things. HCP is going for renewal. I just want to say they've been a pleasure to work with within Ybor City. They're great. At the last month meeting, we started to look at the budgets for YC1 and YC2. Those got approved, and they'll be moving on ahead to you down the road. One thing that we did last year was approve additional streetcar funding from the CRA funds. I want to thank you for that. I think we all realize that the streetcar is instrumental in this area. All three subject CRAs contributed to that funding, but a longer-term solution is needed to continue to fund that. We don't have the CRA budget to support that. We're working on parking garage window art installations. A couple things, parking tickets in Ybor City. Some business owners rent out or reserve parking spaces for their businesses, and there's been an ongoing issue with community, I guess, police and fire, people that work at HCC for instructions taking those spaces. So that's becoming a growing concern. I just want to make you aware of that issue. Besides that, General, the area's doing great. You can see lots of activity. As I talked about, Gasworks is coming online. You can see the Bow Works building, with the Bow Truss is becoming a kind of like an armature works, multi-mixed-use restaurant thing. So that's interesting to see. And I think good things are happening down in Ybor City. So please come visit, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons.
Thank you for
Board
the
Member Clendenin.
Hi,
And then followed by Board Member Carlson.
Good morning. Couple of things. One, you mentioned city processes and some of the frustrations that you keep feeling. What I'd like to get is specifics. So if you would take an IOU, when you hear that from folks, if you would contact my office or one of the other councilperson's office with very specific issues as clear as it can be, so that we can follow through and assist whoever it is that's having those issues, resolve those with city staff, we would appreciate it. Because I know we hear it a lot. I mean, I hear permitting, I hear complaints an awful lot, but I need something that's actionable to be able to assist. So if you can get us something very specific, and we can follow through with that, and maybe hopefully also fix the process for whoever's coming next, so that we can fix whatever happened then. The next applicant come and we can fix that. I'm glad you mentioned parking, because it was on my list. So I kind of halfway crossed off because, as you know, Councilwoman Hurtek has been very involved in the parking situation in Ybor. So I wanted to get some more follow through with you on. Do you see any potential enhancements or how, with the process, or you can answer that now, or you can get back with an IOU on us. How you feel like that's working out. Do we need to do more? Just give us some feedback on the process. And again, kudos to Councilwoman Hurtek for beating this drum and bringing that to Ybor City, because it's such a crucial thing with all that surface parking out there. Let's see. I have affordable housing and transportation. Again, I think we need to make sure, and maybe they bring the CSC where, we potentially sometime in the next 10 years, Brightline hopefully will be dropping into Ybor City. We need to work on connectivities between that station and what that's going to look like, connecting to the streetcar system, both in the Ybor terminus and also hitting it over in Palm, and what that mode of transportation looks like. I think the CAC should at least start some of that conversation of what that's going to look like. And again, with that affordable housing, I think one of the broader conversations I think we need to have with council is that now the 120 AMI is really now market rate, and why are we subsidizing market rate units? So I think we need to talk about some of that 30%, because it's just not practical, especially with the market the way it's happening right now. The market's shifted. We need to think about how we can impact more people's lives, and if y'all bring that to our attention too, if you cover that, if you think there's better uses for that money and what it can do to benefit more people, that would be great. And I know a lot of your folks came here today to join us and took a lot of time. Can you ask them to stand and maybe just tell us who everybody is that's with you from the CAC, just so we recognize everybody?
You introduced him.
But we just knew they were there. Okay. Just one CAC? I thought there was a bunch of people there. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Well, hello, welcome. Thank you so much.
Board Member Carlson.
On the permitting, I'm hearing complaints from all over the city. I'm sure you all are as well. Yes. I wonder if we could ask Cedric to talk to Ms. Feely about the possibility of using CRA money in the CRA districts to fund additional staff to help with permitting. Can I make a motion on that, or?
Under new business.
Okay, I'll wait to new business. But anyway, Cedric, if you think about that, if you have any thoughts, let me know. But we need to try to change the backlog on that, because there are critical, I don't want to call out names, but there are critical pieces in Ybor that have been waiting for more than a year for permits, and it's hurting the dynamism of Ybor, the connectivity of everything. On parking, my company is near the Noriega garage, and I don't know exactly what we were talking about with HCC, but as I recall, the Greco administration, when they negotiated building those two buildings, Charlie may remember, the land was owned by HCC, and so they get HCC gets 60% of it, so they get all of one building and then they get part of the other. But what we've seen with all the new buildings on the corner coming online is that 40% is full all the time, and so we know that that end is full. The garage that was for Centro Ybor is full a lot, especially at night, and there's nothing on the eastern side. And so, as much as we hope that we won't need parking in the future, for the next 10 years, we're going to need it. And so I don't know what the solutions are. At the same time, folks are talking to the empty landowners about converting their surface parking to buildings. And so if we lose that capacity also, we're going to have less parking. And for now, we have to provide parking for the people that work there. We're not going to be live, work, play without some kind of parking. On the bricks, and this is a point I'll bring up later, on the bricks, the city has been communicating most of the CRA projects, and I think not doing it very well, and we need to get control of it. But the bricks are an example. Recently, the city communications department started mentioning that projects that are CRA projects are using CRA money, but they just barely reference it, like they announced the Tampa Union Station yesterday. What happened on the bricks is either they didn't mention it or they barely mention it, but most people don't know what CRA money is or what the difference is. And so if you look at the social media buzz and you look at how we get questioned, we've had all kinds of questions, even from people in Ybor City saying, why are you all so stupid that you tore up a perfectly good road to put bricks down? And one thing is to say, it's come from the community, it was a request from the community. But the other thing is we need to fully communicate what CRA money is and how it's limited. And that's why I think the CRA needs to control its own communication. But I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice on how we, especially as we go to phase 2 on the bricks, how can we better communicate it so that there's not a backlash like there was last time?
Yeah, I think social media, is where a lot of things go. So I think it's got to be an overall better message that's sent out. We've done public workshops beforehand. Met with Brenda at Cheeseology. We had, 50 people in the room, and some press was there. So we tried to get the word out. The email blasts seem to be working, and obviously all that's changing with a lot of those marketing efforts and online efforts that were based solely in Ybor are now going to be for all the CRAs. So I think that's,
and I think
change needs to incorporate all that.
If you have other ideas, please let Cedric or ACP know. But at least in the next few months, if we take control of our own communication, we know what the regulations are about how we can use money and how we can't. We know how to explain it. Our communication people can do that. And what we should start doing is we should be posting the CRA announcements, and then the city can repost them, not the other way around. In terms of HCC in general, I see them all the time, talk to them all the time. They, up on Palm, there's a lot of opportunity to build something closer to the road that's more vertical, that matches the architecture of Ybor. At the time many of those buildings were built, it was like in the 70s when architectural styles were different. And it seems like they're open to it with some CRA money. And so I'm happy to meet with them again. I know you talk to them all the time, but I wish we could have some kind of project that would enhance the area, because Palm is another gateway, especially when that new I-4 exit pops up. And then the last thing is that I've said this before, I think I'm very against having a bright line exit or termination in Ybor. It would go right on the end of the HCC property. If there's I don't know the numbers, but if there's 1,000 people a day, we're going to have 1,000 Ubers. And also it will compete with the airport. It needs to go to the airport. And every time high-speed rail comes up, somebody trots out an engineer who says it's impossible to connect to the airport. I can trot out engineers that say it is possible. And so we need to start lobbying for that. We can't afford to have, Orlando was beating our airport for 10, 14 years, and we've gained some ground back. We've gained back a lot of the flights. We can't afford to have it not go to the airport. It could make Tampa Airport to Orlando like St. Pete's Airport is to Tampa. Thank you.
Board Member Hurtak.
Thank you. And talking about that Brightline survey, TPO just put out a survey about Brightline. If you have not seen it, I can forward it to you and you can forward it to people. But they're talking about where the terminus should be. I mean, it literally came into my email yesterday. So that's something that I can share on social media, but I'll also make sure it gets to you. But that is an important part of, you know, hearing from Ybor residents what they think. So I just wanted to put that out there. But thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Director's report. Mr. McCray.
Good morning again, Cedric McCray, Tampa CRA Director. As you've requested, we have provided the project tracker information for the commercial grants as well as the special projects. And did want to take a moment to highlight the event at South Salinas Park on April 16th and your all's involvement. I think it was a very well-attended groundbreaking for an area that has been looking for some attention for quite some time. And the $1.5 million that will come from the West Tampa CRA funds to reimagine that location is something that will go a long way for the future. And the folks of the West Tampa community and the CRA, I would like to highlight Mr. Joe Robinson, the West Tampa CAC chair, for his efforts, and all of the West Tampa CAC members, and Ms. Thrower for her efforts as well. So. And I will pause for any comments or questions.
Anyone? Board Member Miranda.
I just want to, there was some comment made in general terms about the purchase of a certain plot of land. Are you capable of today discussing that?
We're going to get to that.
Oh, okay, I want to be sure, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Miranda.
Yes. Okay.
Anything under his report that you all want to address? Anything on the tracker?
Can I just ask a quick question?
And by the way, once, if I may, Mr. Carlson was right about there was talk towards the end of the Greco administration over 16 years ago about a garage on the east side of 22nd Street. And that never got to fruition because we were short on what they call cash.
Okay.
And
Board Member Carlson.
Yeah, and Saul Fleshman designed them. It's a really interesting story if you guys haven't talked to him before. There was a comment made about the CRP and only 2 public meetings. Is that true? And if it is, can we put extra money in to have more public meetings, more public engagement on it?
That may be an adjustment in the scope. That can be done. We held a meeting in the January-February timeframe. They presented to the East Tampa CAC this past Tuesday for the 60% update, and we have a larger community conversation scheduled for May 15th.
Okay, I won't make a motion now, but maybe we could talk after the 15th, and my colleagues can talk to you, and then we can determine. But you know, I believe in having as much public engagement as possible, and if it's another $10,000 or whatever dollars to make sure that we fully listen to the public, it would be worth it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. McCray, I thought you were going to put down a picture from the South Salinas event. You changed your mind? Okay, no problem. Anyone else? Yeah, I just wanted to comment on a recent discovery. We had this conversation in our preparation meeting. The Tampa CRA staff has done a really good job on social media. We have our own page where we highlight not only meetings, our annual report, everything that we are doing in regards to CRA. The South Salinas Park was definitely highlighted. Most recently, the Army-Navy press conference was held, and Mr. Clendenin and I actually attended and got to speak regarding that project because, of course, CRA dollars are involved. So just want to inform even the board members that that communication is there, as well as the public, where we're putting it out in real time, and it's ours, and then we're also, you know, sharing it with the city of Tampa. So really good page. It's also a part of our LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn page is doing really well. I happen to follow it there as well, which is a professional business page. that it has a social media format. So thank you for that. Okay. Y'all want to move on to item number 5? There was a memo. Does anyone want to discuss item number 5, or can I get a motion to receive and file?
Motion to receive and file.
Second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Can I
Okay.
just make one more?
On what? Item 5?
Yeah.
After we motion to receive and file, sure. We can reopen it. Go ahead.
No, not reopen it. I just want to make a comment. No, but I think that, we CRA board have an outsourced agreement with the city, and there are some services that are provided by the city, but other services are provided by us. We talked about having a full-time communication person, which will help resolve some of the communication issues. But since we have, at least temporarily, a firm that can handle this, and I've talked to Cedric about this online, I think the CRA should handle its own communication. And if it has to do with a city facility, there can be coordination. But the announcements about CRA projects should go with out with the CRA, and then the city can repost them. If we were the Gates Foundation and we were giving money to the city, we would also require that the city could not make an announcement without us. And I don't think that that's in our agreement. Maybe we can renegotiate that in a few months. But I would just, in the interim, ask the city to respect the law and the particular communication that has to go out about CRA projects, because we've had too many that have gone out that should have been positive announcements that ended up going negative. Even the Tampa Union Station yesterday, it's like 80% positive in social media, but it's about 20% negative also. And I think with the right communication that follows what our CRA attorney would tell us we can and can't do, it's up to us to follow within those guidelines. And if we communicate it, then the city will know that it's following the law and the requirements, and then they can repost it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so for our required approvals, item number 6, CRA 25-13-975, there was some public comment about it today. Board Member Hurtek, you requested the poll. You want to go first?
Yes, thank you. So I just wanted, I spoke to you, Mr. McCray, during my prep meeting yesterday. So I wanted to be able to, for you to be able to talk about some of the concerns that were brought up.
Okay. Yes, as you know, you all have charged us with being aggressively trying to seek out land assemblage opportunities, so we partner with real estate to do that. And this particular parcel, the 1.8 acre site, was one that is north of the Palafox properties that we are assembling currently, and looking forward to some single family or semi-detached housing. When it was brought to the CAC in March of 2025, during their CAC meeting, there were some concerns and questions about environmental, stormwater, and there was one specific CAC member that brought those questions and wanted some additional information. They chose not to move forward with the recommendation to purchase. At the April 1st meeting, I did come back after having conversations with real estate that reached out to those various departments, and each of them came back with inconclusive information. There were no impacts. They looked at the FDEP, their stormwater, as well as wastewater, all opined via email saying that there was nothing that they found. And I've shared that information during the April 1st meeting, and they voted in the affirmative. There was one no vote, as I recall, and it was the same individual that had the reservations about the purchase of the property. We actually subsequently just held a meeting this past Tuesday night between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m., and not one question was raised as it relates to the purchase of this property.
Thank you for addressing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Board Member Maniscalco.
No, what is the size of this property? What is the acreage?
0.8 acres, so a little under an acre.
Okay, so there's space to do quite a bit on it. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah. When we are developing the Palafox project, this is going to be assemblage where the CAC will make a decision about all of it together, is the plan?
Well, we've had some community engagement, visioning sessions.
Yeah.
And just like we just had something last month on the Gator building, Halifax was the month before that.
Yeah.
And so we're having open, engaging conversations between our staff in conjunction with planning and Mr. Johnson's staff to seek public input on all of the properties that we're assembling in East Tampa.
Okay, thank you. So is there a motion to move item number 6 from Hurtak?
Yeah, I'll move item 6.
Okay, and second by Maniscalco. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We also pulled item number 7, the CRA post-disaster grant relief. Hurtak also pulled that.
Thank you. One of the reasons I pulled this is because we've been talking about disaster relief throughout the city, and one of the things that this does is recommendations for how we can provide support following natural disasters. So I wanted Mr. McCray to have an opportunity to talk to the public. We've heard a little bit about this, but just have a moment to tell the public that we are trying to do something similar. And I also have something I want to talk about after, but yeah, so I'll let him speak first.
Yeah, so ultimately with this item, and we're still fleshing some things out, but we would like to, as you know, we've come before you with some requests for waivers for commercial businesses that may have suffered from the storm damage, and per the policy and the way that it's established now, it's rather restrictive to allow people to pull permits and do work. One example was a business in West Tampa that had suffered some storm damage and there was roofing damage. And if they had pulled a permit, they would be precluded from, moving forward with the application of the grants, because we asked that they not do that until they've submitted formally and been approved. So we did request a waiver to assist that business owner in moving forward without being penalized for pulling the permit and, suffering further water damage. And so that's one component. The other piece is that we realize, and as you know, the East Tampa tree trimming program was very popular. We did pause it for a period of time, reestablished it, and several residents have taken advantage of it. But we wanted to make sure if there was an emergency situation, if a resident, not only in East Tampa but in other CRAs, were adversely affected or impacted, that we would be able to provide that service for them and subsidize a portion of the cost.
Thank you. And that's actually, how much money have we spent this fiscal year on tree trimming?
This fiscal year, I couldn't tell you exactly, but I know that in the last 2 to 3, we spent at least, at my last count, $1.3 million.
Each year?
No, not
oh,
each
total.
year.
Okay.
In totality,
Okay.
yes.
So what I want to do along with moving this item forward, during new business, I'm going to make a motion to allocate more money toward tree trimming right now in East Tampa, because the funds have been expended for this year. And I really want to make sure that people get the opportunity to get those trees trimmed before the hurricane season. So I'm going to ask for support from my colleagues on that.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we're moving item number 7.
Yep, I'll move item number 7.
And 8.
And 8.
Second by Maniscalco. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are under new business. Board Member Miranda. Number 8, we just moved it.
Oh,
But Board Member Miranda? Vieira.
Yes, I do.
There we go.
Couple of motions. So, I was speaking with Detective Andrew Washington with Tampa Police Department, and he works a lot on environmental design programs in the CRA that use the physical environment to deter crime, to increase feelings of safety, and to make residents feel more in control of their surroundings. And we talked about doing a motion for CRA staff to work with Detective Andrew Washington with our CRA on crime prevention through environmental design programs to city parks and CRA areas that need it, and for a report to come back for that on, let's say, September. And if y'all need more time, just let me know.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And you know what? This next one I'll make next month. And that's it. Thank you.
Board Member Maniscalco.
Just a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers for this weekend. That's all. Thank you.
Board Member Clendenin. I have none. Board Member Hurtak.
Yes, so the tree trimming program in East Tampa has been very successful and the funds have been exhausted. So I moved to reallocate $100,000 from neighborhood infrastructure and improvements in East Tampa CRA to replenish the tree trimming program funds in advance of the hurricane season.
There's been a motion, second by Board Member Clendenin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And additionally, if there's a way that the CRA can spread the information to the other CRAs that tree trimming is available. I know that you do extra work, but maybe some more things on social media so that the other CRAs, and then let us know if there's a depletion of funds in the tree trimming grant so we can allocate more money to make sure that people's trees, that's not a reason that they will have, because tree trimming is cheap, fixing a roof more expensive. So it's not only helping people in the front end, it's preventing more money that the CRO would have to spend in the back end.
Can I speak
Board
to that?
Member Carlson, do you have anything? Or you want to circle back to this tree trimming, Board Member Clendenin?
Yeah.
Tree trimming, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to double down on what Councilwoman Hurtak said, and this exactly goes in line with what I'm talking about, the purpose of government, and that this is twofold. One, it keeps people in their houses, you know, especially senior citizens that have maybe hazardous trees, and, you know, that potential. And also, you know what, part of the reluctance that people have for planting trees and shade trees is because of this maintenance issue, and people who may be economically disadvantaged, worried about that, you know, being able to maintain these things. So I think that it encourages the folks to plant trees, that have them in the yard, to be able to build our tree canopy. And again, this is, especially in these storm seasons, and that we can do this and help people maintain the safety and security of their homes is really vitally important, especially in these CRAs. Thank you.
Board Member Carlson.
Yeah, just further to the permitting question, and it's simply asking the question, motion to ask CRA staff to ask city staff if the CRA can support permitting in the CRA areas and to report back on July 24th.
Can I have a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do you have a date? For
July
having reached-
24th.
July 24th.
24th, okay.
And then also, Cedric, I just want to ask you, there's one, I won't name it, but there's one case that we've been working through trying to help where the person put the money up in advance, and it was very difficult for the person to self-finance it. To the question that came up in public comment, is there anything else that we can do to adjust the grants to help people who don't have their own capital in advance, so that we can, is there a separate category or something we can do to help people who don't have the funds to on their own finance these projects?
So we've had some updates with some of you related to some of the augmentation in the grants programs. That's something that we can definitely review and bring back for your consideration as a part of the overall update. You know, most of the time it's a 50-50 matching grant, and then we do ask that, you know, individuals kind of share that they have a portion of financing in place. And then I know that some will take that commitment from the CRA and then take that to a entity to say, hey, this CRA is granting me or approving me for you know, $250,000, $500,000, or whatever the case may be.
I think at one time on the facade grants that we had a couple different categories, but I wonder if you all would indulge me to just make a motion to ask CRA staff to talk to the community and look at the grants and see if there's some special category we can create for individuals or businesses that have a difficult time self-funding the start of projects, and report back on July 24th.
Is there a second?
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay.
My concern is exactly what Mr. McCray said. He said that you can be awarded a letter saying that you can get a portion of it. Did I understand that correctly?
Well, they have to be able to show essentially that they have some funding in place to.
Some
Like
funding,
showing a
okay.
line of credit to the bank
Okay.
saying, hey,
But
we're
then
gonna get this grant.
once awarded
Okay.
and it's approved by the board,
I
if it
understand.
comes here, then I'm pretty sure they will take that if they need additional funding to.
Okay, so then, yes, I agree with Councilman Carlson to see if there's anything we can do. But in regards to individuals and the concerns, While I understand it, I also know that if people start hopping staff to come to us, then we're going to have a bit of a problem. So I think that it's not to say that we don't have a problem, and I do think that Mr. Carlson's motion fits, and that we can look and see how we can improve that for folks that don't have any backing, and because that's not just going to be an East Tampa problem.
Right. And if I may, I would suggest and just share, and this goes for the community, if you have conversations with staff, we can then assist in trying to point you in the right directions and or answer any questions that you have. Mm-hmm. It becomes problematic when you go outside of the process.
Mm-hmm. And it could be that the answer to this question is no. We're just simply asking the question for you to come back in July.
Just out of curiosity, do we look at credit when we assess grant opportunities?
On the residential side, there is because we're using a very similar process now. So yes, it is income based. But
and also for me, anyone else, the final question is: do we have an East Tampa interim CRA manager, and have we advertised that? I know the answer, but for public purposes, please.
Currently, no, but we will be advertising very soon.
Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Oh, we did not vote on that? Okay, can you state that motion again? I apologize.
Did you write it? I didn't write it. Do you want me to say it again? To ask CRA staff to talk to the community and consider if there should be any special category for individuals or companies that don't have capital to get started on a project with a grant, and return to us on July 24th with any recommendations.
I'm going to support it for now because I got to know more about the end than beginning in the results. I got to know more about all that.
The thing that we just like with the tree trimming, you know, there some small businesses are kind of working paycheck to paycheck.
I'm not opposed to it. I just got to know more about it.
Yeah.
And so it's worth, I think, at least looking at.
Okay, so we have a motion, and it was seconded by Board Member Maniscalco. All those in favor?
One sec. I'm going to clarify my vote. I'm going to support it, but, I'm sorry, can I speak?
Yes, Board Member
Yeah,
Clinton.
I'm going to support it, but as you and I have spoken about these issues, I want to see the business model and ensuring, I don't think Councilman Carlson or Board Member Carlson is implying, lack of support of your position. I think we want more information, so thank you.
Before we vote, can you answer the question, the level of success we've had with people who are able to provide the funding and then get reimbursed?
Yes, I've signed off on 2 within the last month. Actually, both of them in West Tampa. One is a restaurant that was in a modular or trailer on Main Street in Albany, and then we just did on May 1st. Many of you probably know Mr. Knight, and we've worked with him to mitigate some concerns related to a property, on Main Street.
Yeah.
And he was approved for a commercial interior and exterior grant. That was on May 1st.
So glad that Main Street building is good.
So yeah, things are moving forward, and we are actually closing out a couple of the older grants as well. Okay. And so things are moving. We're just asking that the applicants work with the staff. Understood.
Okay, so we have a motion, second by Maniscalco. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
We have a motion to receive and file. And is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.